Shabbat shalom, everybody. As you can see, I'm a one-man show tonight. Well, I'm not actually a three-man show, but in terms of rabbis, Rabbi Hodson is doing the mitzvah of taking care of his kids, of making sure they have a great experience, and not be angry that they were born the kids of rabbis, and not be able to trick or treat. So I think it's a mitzvah to make them hopefully grow up to really enjoy and be happy that they were born Jewish and be kids of rabbis. That's important. So this morning I was singing with the Heinz preschool kids, our usual Shabbat songs. But as I saw that a number of kids had Halloween-themed clothes or even minor costumes, I felt compelled in the moment to adjust the songs just a little for this non-Jewish holiday. So for example, in Bim Bam, instead of saying cheery, beery, beery, I sang spooky, spooky, spooky. And instead of Shabbat Shalom, hey, I said Shabbat Shalom, boo. The kids, it must be said, were thrilled. Still, as this is my first Halloween as a full-fledged rabbi, thank you. We all know the amazing milestone of your first Halloween as a rabbi, very important. I felt, I must admit, a little discomfort and uncertainty about introducing this originally pagan holiday into a Jewish setting. I'm certainly not the rabbi who is going to stand on my soapbox and preach against Jews celebrating Halloween. One, it's a losing proposition. They're going to do it. And two, we have to pick our battles, and Halloween is not a battle, I think, that is dire enough to require vocal opposition. Plus, I personally think that Halloween for most people today is just good fun, separated from its pagan influences. Mostly what it's about for the kids is the candy. Thank you. I heard a few of you say it. They go wandering the streets in search of as much candy as they can possibly collect. They don't always know where the best treats will come from. They don't exactly know what they'll get at each house. But the promise of the sweet, sweet candy keeps them motivated and excited to go on the journey. Another element of the celebration is, of course, the costumes. Getting dressed up makes us feel like we can be anything we want to be if we really try, and helps us be seen anew by others. And in some strange way, this reminds me a little bit of the journey of our ancestor Avraham in this Parshat, Lecha. In the beginning of our Torah portion, Avraham is seemingly spoken to out of nowhere by God and told, Lech Lecha me'artzecha mimolatecha mibeit avicha. Get out of your land, your birthplace, and your father's house, and go to a land that I will show you. Avram was beckoned on a journey without a destination. He then was promised, I will make you a great nation and bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. Avram was offered some kind of incentive for this journey into the unknown. If God had simply offered a journey into the unknown without anything to offer, perhaps that would not have been enough for Avram. Or perhaps God was concerned that it wouldn't be enough. Either way, Avraham does indeed start walking. There is no sign in the text that God is leading his every step or offering highway signs to keep him on the right path. He simply starts walking with Sarai, his wife, his cousin Lot, and all his possessions. So how does he know when to stop? Well, he doesn't. It's only once Avraham had been in the land and traveled through some of it that God is suddenly seen by Avraham. He arrives in a place called Elon Moreh, and it is there that God appears to him, promising his descendants the land that he is walking on. And what does Avraham do? He builds an altar and sacrifices to God who appeared to him. In this word appeared in Hebrew is the root for seeing, ro'eh. God is seen by Abraham at this place, and consequently, Abraham sees that God's promise will be realized. God's appearance is an affirmation of the promise of God's first words to him. He is assured that it is the very land he is standing on that was the land God would show him, and that all the blessings that would come with it were real. In a sense, then, and if you don't mind me trying, Abraham was on a journey of spiritual trick-or-treating. I'm trying here. Abraham is sent on a journey with the promise of reward and blessings, not knowing exactly where and when the best of those blessings were to come. Just as our kids go out on Halloween to beg for candy, not knowing which house the best and sweetest gifts will come from. Abraham wanted God to see him, and simultaneously God wanted to be seen by Abraham. Just as kids dress up to be seen, and neighbors bedeck their homes and yards so that kids will see that they're in the holiday spirit. But for Abraham, the promise was not in the form of sweets or candy. The reward itself was experiencing and being affirmed by God's presence. Abraham was a seeker, someone willing to walk unexpected and untrodden paths to find the divine in the world in which he lived. He was never sure that he would encounter the God he sensed in the universe, but he was willing to try. But once he did encounter God, then the journey which he had been on was found to not just be valuable for him, but truly holy. The realization of this he marked with the creation of an altar in God's name, a commemoration of the moment he rejoiced in the presence that he sensed was there all along. So look, at the end of the day, maybe Halloween is not such a Jewish holiday. But seeing it as it is a part of the world in which we live, and it's not the most harmful thing about our culture today, we can still find meaning, even in a ritual that is mostly just for fun. In a certain sense, you could say the life of the spiritual seeker is one of trick-or-treating. It's a life in which we search for God at every doorstep, on every street, in every neighborhood. We ask, we pray to be able to feel or see God's presence, and sometimes we come home empty-handed. But sometimes, just sometimes, like Abraham, when we search, when we trust, and when we ask for it, God provides. Shabbat shalom.